Okay, what's going on, everybody? It's Mixin here, your boy. Yeah, so today we're doing a live beat breakdown, as you typically know that we like to do on Fridays. So right now we're getting into this Mac Miller beat that I made for this week. Uh, yeah, so like as the video's going on, make sure to leave likes, comments, all of that fun stuff. If you have any questions or anything like that. So let's get right into it, man. First things first, this is you can vote every Thursday, pretty much all day. Um, yeah, yesterday was the 4th, so happy 4th. And a lot of you guys actually came in to vote, so I was happy you guys did your patriotic duty there, you know. Um, so yeah, uh, we vote every Thursday on my Instagram. I have it tagged down below. You can just go right in, and then you should be able to vote on the beat that you like the most for this week. You know, if you want to see breakdowns and different stuff like that, just contact me, and I'd be happy to like go into more detail about different things or whatever. I'm really just here to help. So, without further ado, let's get right into this Mac Miller type beat. All right. So for this week, I really want to like take the time to kind of explain sampling. So like this beat, in case you forgot what it sounds like, here it is. Yeah, so that's what that beat really is sounding like. So you can tell if you like look up at the top here, I've got like a lot of different chops, a lot of different samples here. So this week I really want to like break down getting into the samples. Like, because a lot of people maybe don't know how to sample. Maybe they like have never tried it before, don't know where to get samples, don't know where to do different things. So for today, I'm using tracklib samples. You can just go to tracklib.com and then just put in, just buy your coins for the monthly basis, and then yeah, you get your different samples from there. Could go to Splice, that one works. Um, there's Arcade. Arcade just like already has it as a VST for you. They're all like monthly subscriptions, so none of them sponsor me, so I'm not gonna really plug one more over the other. But I got these ones from Tracklib today. And what I want to do is I'm gonna show you what they were before and how I chopped them up and how I like really just formatted them into what they are right now. So the first sample that I have here is this. So it's just a really simple piano, and with Mac Miller type beats, when I'm doing them, I usually like to lean into the boom bap style, and that's usually like what a lot of like these like older samples will feed into. But for this one, originally I didn't do a whole lot, so here's the original sample without any of the like stuff in it, so it just sounds like this. Oh, that's pretty loud. Hold on, I'll put it at least on the effects. So as you can tell, it's like not sounding quite the same, and it is pretty loud. So like I needed to put effects on it and different stuff like that. So if I like go in, I drag this in. So like right here, just an audio clip. You can see that it's not like stretched to the timeline like how the main one is. So we've got this here, and we know that it's 65.41 BPM. Thanks to Tracklib, they say that there, and we know it's A minor. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to adjust the BPM down to the exact one that we had for this. 60, yes, 65. So 65. Yeah, I already have the channel stretch, so it's just gonna keep asking me that. Um, yes. So we have it here, and you can see that it's like fitting in. Get this. So like now we have that chop, and I wanted to take this intro part out. I think I wanted to just take that intro part out because I like the way that this one fed in, but it's the same like melody as it was before. So I'll cut this, and now I'll go into the sample, and I'll click stretch. So this stretch mode, all right, what it does is it keeps it at the same uh, bars right there. So like it'll keep it fixed to the BPM. So when you speed it up or whatever, it doesn't go off beat. So we were initially, and I think this is 92 BPM. I had it before. Let's see here. Okay, so it was 91. All right. Yeah, so we have this stretched. Oh, all right. I have to do it again. Uh, but yeah, so it's 91 BPM. So once we have this on the right BPM that we want, so 65.41, cut this sample out, and then we hit stretch, and then we go up to our 91 BPM that we had before. And now you can hear that this sample is exactly the one that we want. So let's see, it's, yeah, 5 bars there. So now we have that sample in tune with the BPM we wanted to do. And I chose 91 BPM because typically when you're working with a boom bap type beat, you really want to make sure it's like around the 90 to like probably like starting from like 83 to like 95-ish BPM because it's like you wanted to keep it at that slow pace that like they can write those smooth bars to. You don't want to you want to make it smooth. You want to make it slow. You want to make it ride. So it's like they can be a lot more lyrical and gives them a lot more room to do what they want to do. But yeah, that's just how I chopped that one up. Um, Going into the next one. This one's a little bit more fun because it's like got some glitches in there and why I chose to do that, I'll tell you. So for this one, so like that chop, I mean, for this one I stretched it. I already explained that, so I won't do that again. But like 120 BPM, set the BPM to 120, drag in the sample, and then click the stretch button on it. So like if I had this one, I'd click the stretch button on it and then format it so that I like had the right stretch. And then I chopped it up. So like the original sample sounded like this. So, I mean, it was pretty simple, and I was like, well, I don't want it to be too simple for this beat because I know for a fact that a lot of these Mac Miller beats are when they're trippier, when they're a little bit like more out there, you really just want to like make sure that they're just like wild and kind of crazy. So, putting the glitches in there really like helps that out. Um, so I'll say this. You go into the chop, and if you ever want to chop something up, the main thing that I like to do is like pick out a piece that I like. So like that first piece is what I think I chopped up here. Yeah, I think it's like a, let's see. Yeah, it's just the first part of that. So I just chopped it up to make it like glitch, like go ooh 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 ooh, so it feeds back into the one that it's going to. And I think I like didn't really enjoy the way that it was like feeding into it before, so I felt like that made it that like chop right here made it like a little bit more of a smooth transition. And then here I just glitched the part that's like in the middle here, like this part right here, like this little piece that was in the other part right here. I just like faded that so it like just would makes that glitch a little bit more uh like it's staying the same, but it's like repeating, like it's almost like skipping on the record, which is kind of like it's standard sound. And speaking of records, you want to have whenever you're doing any kind of boom bap beat, you got to have a little ear candy, a little vinyl sound. You can hear that in the background there. Just like it's just a nice thing to have. So it's like you got little pops that come in, makes it sound old school, makes it really sound like what you want it to sound like. And now the next one is like really the heart of the chopping. It's the trumpets that come in. So that's the main thing that I did with that. And then when I look at it, the original sample was like all over the place. Yeah, so you can kind of see that it was just not the same. So I stretched it to the right BPM, and like right here it says it's 98 BPM. So I made sure I went to 98 BPM, dragged in the sample, and then made the mode switch to stretch, and then it was able to just go in. And then I just chopped it up piece by piece here, because like there's only a couple of parts that I liked. It's a long sample. I think the whole sample that I have here, it's I mean it's like the entirety of the song length, right? So I kept cutting different pieces that I liked from it, just to make the chop go crazy. Like, cause like you made different parts sound like they're all together like in a cohesive unit. But with that in mind, I'm gonna this piece. No, not clone it. Remove it. Uh, so yeah, so that's basically the samples there. I know it's kind of long-winded, but I just wanted to make sure you guys understood like how to sample, what that looks like, and I'll get into the mix that I did for this earlier because there's a way that I like to mix just to make sure that like everything sounds like old school and stuff like that without like anything too crazy going on. Um, yeah, so with all the samples together, including the vinyl, it sounds like this. Mm, 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 mm. So as you can see, like it's just really like it's definitely a Mac Miller style. It's like the inspiration that I got from it was Faces. Faces is my favorite Mac Miller project. Comment down below if you have like a favorite Mac Miller project. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below, and yeah, we'll go from there too on like if there's any other style of Mac Miller beats you want to see. I can kind of make it all, so like just let me know what you guys want to see and what you want to hear and all of that. Let's get right into the drums now. Oh, I forgot. Also, in the melody here, I added this organ. So I like this is a custom organ that I think I made in Omnisphere. If I'm not mistaken, this might be like one of my preset sounds. Once Omnisphere pulls up, I will show you. Yes. So Omnisphere plugin that I'm going to be releasing in the future, Omnisphere pack that I'm going to be putting together. It's just an organ song, like a sound. It's a Hammond organ, and then I just put a lot of tremolo on it, some reverb and some compression, and then as well as this boutique amplifier. Um, it's pretty simple. It's nothing too crazy, but like now all together, here's what the melody sounds like. And I should just say I just tried to keep with the bass notes because I knew it was A minor, so I knew it was gonna be all the white keys and nothing like no like anything too crazy. But like I just wanted to keep it like sinister and dark, and I felt like that spooky organ was gonna add a lot. So yeah, with that in mind, now we got all of the instruments in there. So now let's get into the drums. So mute all of that, and then here's all the drums together. Let's try that again. So here's what we got here. We got kicks. So I'll go into these first. So I like to do the boom 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 boom. That's basically like your standard one. So like with the snares, it sounds like this. So it's a pretty standard boom bap. This is pretty standard boom bap drum, like kick and snare pattern. So you can see here if you wanted to copy this for your own. It's just like this in the channel rack. Then you go to the snare. It's just on the offbeat. Because it's at 91, it's basically like in half speed. So instead of putting in the snare here, you'd put the snare here. That just makes it flow faster. That's the way it's supposed to look. And then with the drums, I switched up the hi-hats from one part to the next. It's just standard. And with my typical favorite velocity edit right there, it's just one of my personal favorite things to do to give it that bounce. Um, then hi-hat pattern 2, I just kept that and I just basically doubled it so it sounded like a lot faster and how it changes over the time. So like together, right now what we have, it goes from to this. So it's pretty simple beat right there with that. Then we'll go into the open hats that I have. Also not very complicated. It just goes on the offbeat. And then right here we have this snare to just lead into it. A little perk shot. So like all together it sounds like this without the bass. So yeah, that's what those drums sound like. It's just pretty standard boom bap stuff. Nothing like over the top, but it does give it a nice bounce, gives it a nice space for people to be lyrical with their stuff and really be trippy with this kind of beat. But now with the bass, here's what I did. And because I use samples, I didn't really have the chords that I would normally have, so I would know like, okay, I can use these bass notes and kind of go from there. I had to play it by ear, and I was like, okay, well, what's sounding right? What's sounding right to me? How can I make it sound repetitive and good with the samples? And then it was just easier to do this way, so I just drew it in like this and then edited the velocity on them. So with this, I used ample bass. And I edited the settings a little bit from what its standard is because I didn't want the like buzzing noise to be super loud. I didn't want the fret changes to be super loud. but I wanted it to sound like a natural bass because it's a boom bap track. So all together, the drums sound like this. Oh, and if anybody wants me to go into more detail about how I like make drum melodies or bass melodies and drum patterns, just leave a comment and I'll get back to you. But so yeah, that's what that sounds like right there. So with this, we've got our drums all together, and yeah, I'll just put everything back in. Um, Play the beat one more time for you guys, and then I'll go into a little bit of the mixing tips. All right, here goes the beat. Yeah, so that's what the bass part of the beat sounds like. And for this, because it's so short in terms of or I guess like because it's so long in terms of the BPM, like how long it takes to get to this, I like to keep all my beats around 2 minutes long, just for like retention reasons, or you know, just so that like the artist, if they want like more of the beat, I can just build it out more for them if they want. But like just to get people a nice little taste and to build up the channel, that's what I usually do is just keep it at 2 minutes. But like what I did for this is to keep it still on that pace. I think I just made it 16 bar verse, 16 bar hook, 16 and like total of I think 12 bars of I don't know, 16 bars of intro and outro. Uh, but yeah, that's what that basically is. So yeah, this is let's get right into the mixing. Some of you guys said that you couldn't see this last time, so I wanted to make sure I could see let you see the whole mixing bar here. So with the piano, here's what I did. I put a little EQ on here to cut off the bass end of it because there was a bass that was in this before, I believe. Yeah, so I didn't want that in there, so I cut it off on the top end or the lower end of the frequencies and then boosted the high notes so that the ringing of the piano could be really filled out. And that also kind of like is that like where the telephone effect usually is. So like the telephone was like right there, so it's like you want to make it if you had a full telephone effect on it, it would sound like this. Gives it that old school feeling. So like if you have FL, you can just right click on the arrow over there and you can get old telephone that just makes everything sound old. And you usually just like edit it, like how much of it you want right here on the mixer for how much EQ you want it to affect. And then I did this one. For the vocal chop, I cut off a lot of the bass on it. So before, and then raised the higher frequency. So I cut off the bass ends of it that would just to make sure it wouldn't like mess with anything. Then I raised the middle and the high, and then took off the like some of the treble just to give it that old school feel. Because like the more that you mess with the settings there, the older it sounds for whatever reason. And then the vinyl, I didn't really edit anything. I just stretched it to I believe I just stretched it. Yeah, to make it fit. And then I went to this. This is the trumpet. And so what I did with this was a little bit different. I also want to like notify you that I did a little bit of panning here. So it was let's see how much. It's like it says 46%, but 9% to the left, and then 24% to the right for the trumpet and the vocals because I felt like they were at a similar frequency range. So I upped the mids, took out some of the low end, and then up the highs to make the trumpet sound good. It was already an older sounding sample, so I didn't really need to do a whole lot with it in terms of like trying to get that effect on the EQ. But I did do something unique here. If you have waves, awesome. This is something you should utilize in your beats. So like I used, I believe the dark fader. Like, let's see. Yeah, the dark fader preset. So without it, it was very high pitched, and it was like, well, I don't really want that. I want my trumpet to sound bassy. So with it, it sounds like there's a couple of them. So it sounds like it's a little bit more of a harmonic as opposed to that. So it's like it sounds like a fuller sounding beat. Then with the kick, I added a little bit of punch here, some soft clipper right here just to make it hit even harder. Then with the snare, put a little EQ on it at the certain points that I like the snare at, and a little compression just to give it that like old school feel with the snare on the EQ. Because it's hitting at this point right here. So so that was a little bit of the bassier side of it. And then here was a little bit more of the bassy, but like a certain frequency that made it sound better to me. And then here a little bit more of the high end, just to like make it really stand out. I faded that a little bit to the left, same with the hi-hat, and just rolled off a little bit on the back end just to give it that old school feel, like I've said multiple times now. And then I raised up this because I felt like that presence that's there really just like resonates well with me. I rolled off some of the bass just to make sure it didn't conflict, and then I added like a little bit of compression. Usually with my compression on my drums, especially with the CLA 3A, I like to like have it hit at like the 3 dB, the negative 3 dB, so it's not overly compressed because a lot of your drums are going to come mixed already. But I just like to keep it around there because then it doesn't sound too squished, but it does sound like it's like not just on its own and it's more balanced. Then with the bass, I put heavy on that and took a lot of the high end out. I just like really put it in the sub so it would like burn through a speaker, you know, a little bit, like just to give it that like rumble. Then I put a little compressor on it, CLA 2A, and I like usually like CLA 3A works for a lot of different stuff, but for me, I really like using 2A when it's a bass, and then I added some soft clipper to give it a little bit of a distortion factor. So bring some of those highs back, you know. And then with the hi-hats, I didn't really mix it. Same with the backup snare and same with the Omnisphere because I mixed it in the thing. But they are all panned to the right on this side, left here. So like you kind of get like more of a balanced mix at the end. So like you can see here. See how it's hitting all at like a certain level. They're all pretty like standard at that negative 20 range. You want to like, but obviously right here from this part of the frequency, I'm just trying to leave a lot of space for the vocalist because this is usually where the vocals reside. So if you ever like are looking at your track and you're wondering like, well, is it gonna leave enough room for the vocalist? And honestly, I just say look at your analyzer, look how your like linear frequencies are coming through at the end of your project. That's gonna let you know like, okay, they've got all this room to like balance it at the end. Yeah, and uh that's pretty much all I did for this beat. I've got my standard mastering on there. If anybody wants to know about that, if you want me to make a video about that, I am also happy to do it. So with all of that, guys, make sure you like, you subscribe. Sorry about the glitch that happened, but we'll put the video together for everybody later. Um, Thanks, guys, for tuning in. Make sure you vote every Thursday if you want to see certain beats. I put beats out 3 times a week, always at 9 a.m. And then I follow up with a little mini clip of it at 10. Then we drop the breakdowns in short form. on Thursdays at 10. If there's anything you guys want from me, drop a comment, leave a like. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Most of you who watch my videos aren't subscribed, so make sure you're doing that because, guys, I need you. All right, that's all I got for you guys today. It was a little bit longer video today because of the glitch and because how I wanted to break down sampling, but here we are. We made it through. You have made it through to the end. I'm proud of you. Thank you. And take it easy, guys. Peace.